there's my head. You know, Scripture talks about honoring the gray hairs. It doesn't say anything about honoring the bald head. I don't understand. That just doesn't seem fair. I don't tend to get gray hair so much, I just lose them. Yeah, well, so there I am. So, I've taught science and math classes for 20 years, and 7 years experience in the electronics industry for used aircraft and Western Digital. Wrote programs that tested printed circuit boards that went on their disk drives. Taught physics, chemistry, AP chemistry, physical science, earth science, a couple of years, life science, a couple of years, biology, just 1 year, as well as taught pre-algebra and algebra 1 and algebra 2 and pre-calculus. We called it trig at the time that I taught it. If you have any questions about lab procedure write-ups, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can see this is online. You can pull this up. It's in your teacher pages. That's my email address, and that's the wrong phone number. Somehow it's supposed to be 6'5", and I hit it wrong and didn't catch it. So I'm going to save it. I really mean that. Yes, I do. Done. It should come up. Chemistry. There it is. So it says the right phone number now. So that's my phone number. Don't leave a message. How many of you guys ever check messages left on your phone? Does anybody do that anymore? Yeah, not many. If they want to leave a message, what do they do? Well, they text you, right? Don't you text? That's text me, because I get all kinds of junk people trying to contact me, and so if I don't know that number, that person, I don't answer the phone even. So if you text me, let's say you send me an email, say, and it was after 6, because I don't really check after about 5 or 6. I don't check emails at night. Maybe the next day I'll check it. So if it's important, just text me and say, Miss Bruce, I sent you an email, can you check it? Or just text me, Mr. Bruce, can we get together sometime? I need some help on this. What times would you be available? Or you can let me know what times you are. And just text me and then I'll respond. That's probably the easiest way. How many of you guys have ever had a teacher say text me before? Did it ever happen?
Last year.
Oh, did they?
One of our teachers, yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, this is a little at a school that typically doesn't happen. You don't give out email addresses or phone numbers. You use the email set up in the school. So don't forget to put your name in there so I know, who it is. My availability outside of class time. On Tuesday and Monday, here's the thing. My wife and I, have you guys heard of community Bible study? It's like Bible study fellowship. So we're involved with that. We lead one of the teams of the discussion group teams. Right now we're doing it virtually. We're not meeting in person. But Monday nights from like 7 to 8:30, 8:15, we're there for training, the leadership. And then Tuesdays when the class is, and I'm from 7 to 8:30, I'm there to lead the discussion group. So those times I'm not really available. But earlier in the day, I am available. From like 8 o'clock to the morning to whenever. Because I don't have a lot more else going on. I'm doing some, tutoring here and there, but that's flexible. You can arrange that. So Monday and Tuesday nights don't work so well, but earlier in the day you can. I'm available at other times for tutoring help. Just contact me. Tuesday nights after 6 p.m. Not open. I should have said Monday also. And I know it's become traditional around here. These Friday mornings at was it Panera? Is that nearby here? Fairly. I don't even know exactly what it is. I'll just have to get an address. But I can do that if you want to. If you can get together with other teachers at the same time and just like to be in one location, we're glad to do that. If you want to do it virtually, we need some help on doing some of the homework problems. I've got a lot of sheets that I gave people to help explain things in the past. I can give you if you need help on something. And if you want to do a virtual like tutoring, I've got. Because where I was teaching last year, of course, the middle of March, suddenly we're doing virtual teaching. And so what we did was, we met 3 times a week with each class instead of the 4 times that the setup they normally had there. And we would, I put a whiteboard on the wall in my one bedroom. I got all set up I could share my, use Zoom. And so we can do that too if you want. Instead of having to go to Panera, it's up to you. But I'm flexible. So here's some links. It says lab report format and lab report rubric link. These are a couple of links, and there's class participant rubric. Okay, so let me just click on this one. It says lab report format. And it'll pull it up. And let me do my notes again. I think this is the one we're going to go through. One of these will go through. Okay. So anyway, those things are online. This is actually a PowerPoint. It's kind of like a PowerPoint. It's for Google. I'm not sure if they call it Google Sheets or Pages or something like that. I've always used PowerPoints. So you have assignments. You know what? And I think I didn't put this in grade link, and I'm going to have to add that to this afterwards. But do you know how to get to study.com? You guys probably did that?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the bronze? It's bronze hamster 4729. And that is on, I believe it's on the, what we were looking at before, the teacher page. Let me write that down for you guys. Your password through study.com for this class. Bronze hamster 472. Where is it?
Is there a name and the password, like an initial name?
No, if you, so you go to study.com and you register by entering your name, email, and create a password if you remember. Enter the password code as appears here, bronzehammer-4729. So I put this on the class page. I did. But I remember this is on the class page. That's a 7 and a 2. So that, again, you can't see this, but it's on the class page. Bronze-hamster-4729. And that's what is the code that you need to be able to get on. Let's see. That was not supposed to happen. Rip the page off. And the page will ask, what would you like to do next? You just select Explore My Dashboard, and then you're going to click on the first chapter, watch some videos, take the quizzes, etc. And just copied it. Should have done it pinned it on the second copy, not by the short side, but anyway, didn't do that. We're going to watch the scientific method applied to environmental problems. Your student assignments is to watch the scientific method applied to environmental problems, which we're doing now, going to be doing now. And there's a chemistry lab, safety and accuracy procedures and equipment also. And then you're going to download the lab report format, the lab report rubric from the grade link page to see what to do. But let's do the lab report format and lab report rubric so you can see that. So let me just go to it. Let's go to share with me. Chemistry. Lab report format. It's probably the same format each class you take. This is again a PowerPoint, so I'm just going to step through it this way. It says in the bottom. Anyway, you're giving me feedback, so I know what you learned, what you picked up from the lab. Not always is the chemistry lab going to have a hypothesis where you expect something to happen, but where it does, you should express it. And if this is done, then that will happen. Your hypothesis could be wrong. If it is, just say my hypothesis was wrong. So, for example, we had a demonstration we did in a previous class, and if we have time, we'll do it in this class. We had just water in little paper plates, and I put a little match with a wooden match, bent it with a penny holding it up, set it on fire. They covered it up with glass, and then when they released the pressure from the water, got pushed up into it little waves. They didn't know what percentage of our atmosphere is oxygen. Do any of you guys know what it is? So if you were to guess, what would you say? Pardon? What do you say, 90?
Nitrogen. Did you say
No, what
nitrogen?
percentage of our atmosphere is oxygen? What percentage?
I thought you had some.
Nitrogen is the most, yeah.
33%?
You say what?
33?
33, 1/3.
Isn't it 25?
That's pretty close. So he says 20, 33, 1/4. Could say 1/5, 1/3, 1/4. So then what we did is we saw the match would burn out once it burned up all the oxygen in the glass that was covering it. So then the water got pushed up. If it got pushed up 1/4 of the way, then that would mean 25%. If it got pushed up 1/3, that would mean it was 33%. It got pushed up 1/5, meaning it's actually 20%, 21% about. So that's where you make a guess. That was your hypothesis. It may be educated because you may have read somewhere that nitrogen is more common, the most common. So you knew it was less than 50%. You didn't know exactly. So it wasn't a completely uneducated just guess out of the blue, but you had some ideas. So anyway, your lab report should have an introduction, materials and methods, data, conclusion, and references. If the references will have to be from your textbook, but if you find other ones, you can get extra credit for that. Okay? When you get to the rubrics, you'll see that. In your introduction, what's the purpose of your lab? If there's an hypothesis about what you expect to happen, you should state that. I'll let you know if there's really, you can't have much of a hypothesis in this lab. I'll try to come up with a way that you can do it, but not always. A lot of times we're just learning about processes by doing it. What methods are you using? So you want to describe it. Often you want a picture here if you're going to, if you're heating something up and you're collecting the gas somewhere else, you want to draw a little picture of your apparatus, that kind of thing, to show what's going on. So, not just a list of materials, but how's it used? We use, like the cup to cover it up so that you got that vacuum, so that no air could get in or out. So you describe, just to say that I've got a paper plate and some water and a pinion of match and glass, that doesn't really explain what you did. Drawing a picture often helps and saves time. In your data, you may have graphs or tables. You may even draw pictures again to help explain what happened. You should have a written summary of the information in your charts and tables, and conclusions summarize what happened. Well, if you had an hypothesis, was it right or wrong? It's okay if it's wrong as long as you can recognize that it was wrong. Does that make sense? If you're aware of it. If there was some error in your experiment, maybe actually measure the percent, and it came out to be about 15%, it should have been 20% oxygen. Where could it come from? Well, it took too long to cover up the match, so the match didn't burn long enough to burn up all the oxygen in this, because, you have to be able to explain where you think some user error could have come in, or just because the equipment wasn't the best. But you should explain any error that came about, describe what kind of results you had. Could we have done this lab in a better way that had been more effective? And your references, and again, if you notice, you can get extra credit if you, it says APA format, go to that website if you need it. So this is online if you need it. And here's the rubric, it's included in this PowerPoint. And you see that, not really. So, let me pull up the rubric, lab report, rubric. I guess they're kind of the same, aren't they? It's a little bit bigger, you can see it. But you can print this out at home. And it shows you, you got your introduction, materials and methods. You need to explain a little bit the data, the conclusion, and the report. I'm not saying you have a big table for your lab. We're saying is this helps you to understand how your lab report is going to be graded, okay? So you make sure you don't miss something. So I would suggest you print this out and have it next to you when you're writing up your lab report to make sure you don't miss something, that you do things the right way. But you probably did this before when you guys are juniors?
Sophomore.
Okay, so did you do this last year in, what do you have, biology last year? So you're used to this, right? It's not new to really belabor it then. So you know how to get to the links, click on it, follow it up. Okay. Let's see. scientific method applied to environmental problems, etc. So let me, where am I logged in? Chrome history. There it is. That's something that I did. Is this study.com? Here. Okay. The biology. But we can do this. Let's see. So, how can I log into a different class? I'll just try. Need all that. Study.com. Where's the login? Okay, there. Oops. What happened? That's weird. So I listed one I had. Sorry, I am learning this stuff myself. Bronze hamster. Bronze hamster 46 animal. Does anybody see I need to be able to log in dashboard? And I think it's the dashboard probably for biology. I don't want that. Yeah. So log off and then is there a place to? Because I don't know how to switch to the chemistry. And searching's not going to find it. It has me automatically logged in. Let me try it again. Am I logged in? Sign out. There it is. Log in. I may get a mistake because that may be for biology. Yep. Try it again. Sorry, guys. Log in. Say bronze hamster 4729. No, it won't let me log in the other way, I think. I'm not sure. Sorry guys, I don't know how to get to the, I'll have to get help later. How to get to the what I want from study.com, so I can't do that. If you wanted me to watch the video, which you'll be able to do, then you guys log in, you can see it. Scientific method applied to environmental problems. So anyway, the test question will come from video lectures in the lab manual. And on the class page, you have a link to the study.com you can log in. For some reason, it's not letting me log in at two different, I have to get help about why it won't let me. I used that login that I just told you guys to use. It wouldn't let me log, that didn't work. Bronze hamster. Let me try again. Maybe I'm yeah, it won't let me do it. So I can't log into it. It said I should be able to, so I'm going to have to see if there's a big problem for you. Bronze hamster 4729. That that is what I typed in. So it may not let me use the same email for more than one login. Should. So, the lecture grade, 50% of your grade. Oops, that's. Okay. So, well, I can't do what I wanted to do. All right. Because I can't log in. Is that what that says here? The wrong semester. Okay, well, yeah, I can tell you this, your chemistry lab setup will look like this. I don't think you will have one of these. This is for me. And the purpose of these styrofoam stuff here is the kits I said I was going to give you a lot more effective. Do some molecular shapes, and yeah, that's not much you can do there. You should have a digital multimeter, and you'll have a couple of beakers calibrated on the side. This goes 150. This is probably just about 100 or yeah, 100. And you have other washing bottles, etc. And you have a bunch of little chemicals in here, so you'll bring that with you. A lot of labs use, you probably haven't used something like this before, but what you can do is you can do a lab where you have different percentages, 80% of one, 20 of the other, and then maybe it'll be 70-30, 60-40, go across, and you can see what happens, and you can predict by calculation what should happen as far as the reaction that goes. So anyway, you got a lot of tools here. Is this a little conductivity tester? Yeah, that's nothing. I also have a couple of pH meters that are my own property that we'll be able to use in labs. Typically what we'll do is pH paper. I don't see the pH paper here. Well, here's what they have. See, this is what they'll have you do really involved with. You can play with that. The kits I have are, you're welcome to use. I have a bunch of them during the school year. I'll bring those next Tuesday.
Will we be getting lab manuals in this class?
Yes, I mean, I think they haven't come yet for this class. They would have had it. I think you will be getting it, but it hasn't come yet. Okay, so what I'd like to do, if we have everything we need for it, is do a couple of demonstrations where we learn about the scientific method. We already talked about the ones I kind of.
So if we don't have the lab manuals, last year they had the one section of the lab manuals, we had to have the manual so we could answer our lab reports. How are you going to do the lab reports without answering these questions within the lab manual?
You'll have a lab manual. I don't know what. I guess I'm not understanding. What
So none of us. Do you guys have the lab manual for this class?
I don't.
Because I think this week we have the lab report due. It's just last year they always asked us to answer the questions within
Well,
the
I don't have a lab
manuals.
manual either, so I'm not sure what we'll do on that.
Do you know if there's like a PDF or something on the teacher pages or?
No, yeah. That's a good question. Because I don't have the lab, I don't have them. And I was told that they would have them over here. Let me check down the hallway and see if they are in the lab. Let me get some help.
Oh my gosh. Were they doing a lab report this week?
It's on the scientific method, that's why I knew that we need the lab manuals in order to do
I
our.
was thinking, it's the scientific method, it's like, how
What are we writing about?
it's like last year, we had to write a lab report on.
But like we had a piece of paper last year that had all our information on it before we got the lab manuals. This year we don't have any.
Including all my school before
Because I heard we were going to get them in class, so I didn't have to purchase them. Well,
I'm doing something.
It's kind of nice to hear that.
so I was going to say, does he have one? Does he not? Because it's like, I don't know how I'm going to do the lab report for that one. And like tier 1 wouldn't know to ask for that if they got theirs. So they'll figure it out.
I hate something to see that with something to do. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm so
So maybe there's no homework this week.
It's okay, we have enough and.
It's okay, I got a lot of stuff to do. I have college stuff to do, it's okay.
Yeah, kind of stressing out about more stuff.
I work an 8 to 2 tomorrow.
Huh?
I work 8 to 2. So, and I work out tomorrow and Thursday. So I'm like, oh, when am I gonna get my college stuff done?
You might want to go and like get that discussion post.
I know I'm gonna write that today. Do my 2 papers today, and then work on English and stuff tomorrow. So the rest of English homework isn't bad.
At least there's not as much reading in this class.
What?
There's not as much reading in this class.
There's not much what?
Reading in New Testament.
No,
Oh, that was.
but it's just a lot of text. Like I thought, and also responding to people on different days.
Yeah, there's.
Because I like to get it all
The hard
done.
part about this class is the details that you have to catch.
Like I don't know what to put in my discussion post and how long it needs to be.
Also, it's like, okay, the apocryphy. What? How?
I'm gonna look up the question and then based on what I read, I'm like, okay.
So I'm just gonna have to like research. I don't even know the apocryphy. I didn't know those things existed until like yesterday. So
It's a fun class.
All right, they found 3. She's looking to see where the rest of them are. This is a teacher's one.
3 out of 5 is it?
3 out of 5 or even 6 because the student was away. Yeah, these were all they had that I can see. These microchem. Let's see if there's one here. I think we looked through this. It wasn't good.
It's okay if it was a 3 out of 5.
it's like I volunteer.
But it's like, I'll volunteer not to take one, it's okay.
Well, no, we can work together, you know, right?
Well, no, when you get home to the lab report, that's the
Are
problem.
there 4 or
Well, like,
3?
we got like,
Wait a minute. What? There's 4 here. Hey.
Listen,
I guess we're all left out, sorry guys.
For one person.
There's 5 here.
See?
We just miscounted. There's probably 6.
Alright.
These are tinier than last year too, so
hey,
that's
I'm
nice.
cool with that.
Thank you.
Glad you said something.
Because I was thinking, how are we gonna do this without them?
No, it's not even.
All right. And I'm sure there's a 6th one around somewhere. Would someone go down and tell Ms. Caston that we have 5 of them? We need probably 1 more. And I may have
I
that
don't
at
think
home.
he's gonna be coming on campus at all.
But he needs to do, but he has a kid, he needs to do them at the labs at home.
I I can ask the staff to for you.
Yeah, that's what he'll be doing. He'll be doing the labs at home and on your own. So if you may want to contact me to get some help in setting up the labs and doing them, if you have questions about how to do it, Gavin. All right, so, and I have the teacher's one. Okay. Good. Terminology. Right, there it is. All right. So, if you turn to page 3 on Introduction to Scientific Investigation, you'll see a picture like this. All right? And I've got some paper here somewhere.
Oh, is this the whirly bird?
You've done the whirly bird before, right?
Yeah. We did it last year as our first lab before.
It's not easy. By the way, this is kind of big. You're going to cut it in half. I had some scissors in the room next door. It's always locked. If you can, if someone can knock on it and let you in so that you can get the scissors. There's 3 pairs of scissors that we need.
She's got the lab kit for that, so she'll get it.
Oh, good, good. And
Oh, no, this is the word bird.
Oh, yeah.
What was that?
Can I just like?
I don't like the whirly bird. I'm sorry. I hate this.
It's like, yeah, I remember it.
What just saw for last year?
I'm just going to copy it from last. If this is the lab report, I'm just copying it from last year.
Well, that's
And then
later, so I mean, it's my own
No.
version.
It's your own thing and you can just tweak it.
Make the dates, tweak.
I just hope I still have my copy from last year.
Mine's probably somewhere on my computer.
I know it's somewhere on my computer. I don't know
I
where.
got
You
it.
guys know that a Toyota 4Runner has 22 miles per gallon and weighs about 4,250 pounds.
Wow, I'm so glad I know the Toyota.
That was
Wow.
as of 2008.
And there goes.
That's an unreliable source, my dude. 12 years
As this
ago.
is dated 2009.
Also, it's so cold in here. I'm getting goosebumps now.
It is pretty cheap.
Like last year we were too hot and now we're just too cold. I also really don't remember how to do this. Like how to hold it.
so we got 5 pairs of scissors so everybody can grab them and do their own. And we got here's the idea.
Oh,
I would suggest lengthwise you fold it in half. Try to get it pretty, yes. Sorry, I missed that. There you go. Because what you're going to do is you're going to fold it here. I think you remember this. And you're going to cut down, and that's about 1/3 that you cut over on each side. But if you fold it, you'll know about how far down. You better cut that line straighter, etc. And with this, one of these wings is going to go fold this way, the other one's going to flop the other way. And then you're going to fold these flaps right here down below. On these 2, one of them going to fold this way, one of them fold the other way. And then when you hang it, let it fall, it should whirl down. Now, if I had paper clips, that's the one thing I didn't think to bring, we could do the rest of it with different paper clips to see how it works. Anybody, you don't have any device to check, see if you can go on the study.com and log on to Bronze Hamster, that should, I don't know, I'm gonna have to find out why I can only log on to my biology class, but not chemistry with study.com. Because I don't have access to the video and files there, we can't log in. So,
wait, are you guys holding it in place?
if you,
I just want to find out.
draw a picture up here for Gavin so he sees what we're
Okay.
doing. So you got a piece of paper, Gavin, like this. And solid line means cut. So I would estimate about right here, you're going to fold it in half. You're going to cut up a line like this, okay? And then, where's the picture of it again.
Uh,
Cut across, there we go. And then you're gonna estimate about 1/3 here. You're gonna go cut over about 1/3, cut over about 1/3, okay? You're not gonna cut this part. I should make that look like a third. And so then you're gonna fold it. One fold this way, one fold the other way. At this end, you're gonna bend it over about 1/2 inch to make it heavier. One of the things flap this way, one of them flaps the other way. When they're done building them, you're gonna see the class, which are like, we'll bring it, you can see. So if you get a piece of paper and you cut it like that, you probably have regular papers. Did you use a full sheet of paper when you did it last year?
no, it's
Half the size, smaller. Yeah, that size. Not
Yeah. We can, like, they were.
One folds this way, one folds that. I don't know if it really matters, but that's what they said. Right. And what you're gonna want to do is the bottom, you're gonna want to, when you go and unfold it now, you're gonna want to pick it up about 1/4 inch. So I have an old one here.
So you want us to cut like 1/4 inch like right there?
No, we want to go about 1/3 of the way in and 1/3 of the way in and cut each side.
Okay.
So the solid lines you cut, the dotted lines you fold. And down here, once you fold, you're gonna bend this over and then you're gonna flap one of these this way, one the other. I don't know if it really makes a difference, but then one of these flap this way, one of them flap the other way, and when you drop it, it should spin around. Yeah.
Oh, wait, what?
Are you going the opposite direction? Yeah, that should work. One this way, one this way. Yes. So it did. Sometimes you have to get it started, and you want to time it, drop from the same height, and the idea is if you have a weight on it, see how that changes it. And they, just like you guys ever made paper airplanes, sometimes you put a paper clip in the front, and that weight makes it fly more effectively. It may stay in the air longer, even though it weighs more. Yes, and then once you're,
So you drop it.
well, what you have to do, go ahead and unfold it, what you have down here. And now at the bottom, you want to bend it up about 1/4 inch.
Both sides?
Yeah, just about 1/4 inch, not 1/2 inch. You just give it a little bit more weight.
Yeah.
Okay, you got yours the same way. One flap this way, one that way. In other words, yeah, like that.
Okay.
I don't know about folding it in half there. That, well, but this is the idea. And sometimes get it started.
Whoa, okay.
How does yours, wait, does yours work or mine doesn't? Okay, so
Yeah,
then.
sometimes get it started a little bit because it needs a little bit of help. Okay, just flip a little bit of go.
There we go.
There it is. Oh, well. That is, you're supposed to time it from the height. Now, they don't work too well, I know. Is it, I think, you're making yours with the smaller one. That may be a better idea. I'm curious if yours works better by doing that. Because the paper is kind of,
My bird doesn't fly, bird.
Oh, yours are dying. Hold on.
oh, one this way, one this way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're supposed to bend like that. You just-
Oh, that might have been me.
I don't know if it made a difference or not, but. Yeah,
Yeah,
it worked too well. Oh, well. Very good. They even landed it upright. Okay. So, now, if this was going to be written up lab report, you might want to say, well, some people's Whirlybird work better than yours. Why did yours not work better? What were some mistakes you made, or what could you have done to make it work better? It should be based on some physics or, principles.
Now we just like throwing these up in the air and shit, right?
I think your hands are smart.
Oh, you did. You don't want these to flip too much.
It's just a matter of
Your side. Also, the bottom, you should bend it up a little more weight. But
It's like it
it's
turns, it's like no,
weight to keep
You have to
it
kind of
inside.
put your small thing again.
maybe we'll make it.
So the
Oh,
bottom,
that didn't work.
the bottom is supposed to fit. Oh, you did. They should probably think they show it fully opposite direction. I don't know if it makes a difference. Try spinning it and seeing if that works.
We should do it in front of the first guy. Basically,
Spin it
this.
sideways and let it go.
He's
So-
so
let's see, is it Leah or Leah?
Leah.
Leah. Can't think of Leah.
So I work,
And, yes.
I'm used to it, it's okay.
Oh, it's actually a small paper clip. We attach a paper.
What?
This is attached paper.
Mine was working,
Yes, now we
yeah.
have a paper clip in one of these rooms here that I've been in. What we could be, instead of us check, I'm gonna go check the lab, see if I can find out. We have one paper clip.
Hold on, that's actually pretty good, like,
Hey, Josh, what time is it?
wait. Start looking at your airplane.
Honestly, the first one I thought.
How long do we have this for?
It ends at
It works.
11:40 or
It works,
11:40.
guys. It works.
You got it to work?
That's the very end.
Come on.
Wait. No. Hey, do it.
It's been to the bottom. At first it doesn't go. So like,
And also, I think it will be trouble. Because mine for well, nature
it does it at the bottom. I so we don't have to do a lot of work.
Okay.
You need to cover at the bottom.
You do?
This didn't work out too well, but
Oh, yeah.
let's all get together, go over to the lab. Yeah, we're gonna do a lab now, and I don't know what to do. It's not really a lab, it's just a demonstration. So we're gonna have to say bye. So we're gonna go next door and let's see. That's not good. We'll let loose.
Should we bring our lab manuals?
You don't need it, no. We're just gonna put pennies. I think everything needed is over here. check this out. Try to go to study.com. You have a device that you can see if you you can create home passwords like it said. I just copy what it said online, you know. And I don't know why it wouldn't let me log in to study.com with that password.
I don't have anyone with their computer today, but we're supposed to turn our.
We're supposed to turn on our
devices, so pretty much knew what we had running.
So let me know if there's a problem. There shouldn't be because they do the same thing here. Oh.
And what do we turn in next week?
What does it say
I believe it's a lab report, but it doesn't say specifically. It just says experimental lab report.
okay, what we were supposed to do was,
Was it the whirlybird experiment, that one?
yes.
Okay, just want to make
We're
sure.
supposed to calculate the velocity, but we didn't really time it
That's easy to do.
in the distance and all of that.
We did this
So-
experiment last year, and we do have our calculations. Would you like us to just use that as a
That would be
reference?
good. Because, yeah, it didn't work. Did it work better with regular paper instead of this cardboard?
Well,
this
and-
cardstock?
And also we just use like I think index cards instead of like.
Yeah.
And did it work better with index cards? Because index cards.
No, it worked pretty
No,
well.
last year.
I mean, it
Our
was
biology teacher last year did, she pretty much, she had, we're copying her book of this, and she copied that, and then she gave everyone one of these, so we didn't have to share it out.
So we just cut it out.
Instead of she torn out, and then we cut off of this,
Uh-huh.
and that's what we did, and it worked.
Well, these,
So,
it may have been because of the huge side, it was difficult to make it work as well. Okay. I made one at home with this big one and it worked. But then, because I had to fold it to take it in here, you know, the wings part were too flimsy. They have to be pretty solid. They can't be moving around, and that's why they would not go down. Paper clips would have helped keep the orientation right so that it would work. Did you start them spinning last year, or you just dropped them?
I started it at the beginning, and then when I started dropping it, it did take a minute for it. So you have to kind of put a little bit of a flick into it for it to start moving.
Yeah, that's what I concluded. The grading scale is 90, 80, 70, 60. By the way, George has said that to pass, you have to get 70% or better. You're not allowed to get 60. So, but that's for grading this particular lab, so I'll have to talk to, the powers that be about this story. Because if George has said you have to be 70%, then that would apply to private schools as well, or home schools or whatever.
Yeah.
I know last year's rule was you had to get an 80 or above, I think 85 or above.
I think that was for your final test, for your final exam.
And what we're supposed to report if anybody's grade drops below 85.
Oh, man.
All right, well, I think we're just about, yeah, we got a couple minutes left. Uh-oh. I sure wish the Pac-12 hadn't opted out of college football. Huh?
Should we maybe stop recording?